I want to run this one a little bit more organically, and here's why. I'm going to go over a couple of different subjects today. Thought processes kind of going through my head. The first one we're going to talk about is 24th of May. We're going to have the Ken Ronnie Coleman on the Layman's Lab.
Yep.
Right? So we had Matt Fawkes, which is, he's the owner of Metroflex here in Tampa, or Metroflex Tampa, it's in Brandon. But, we collaborated, and we've been speaking about this for a while. So we've got Ronnie coming down for the second coming, basically at Metroflex.
Grand opening,
Basically, yeah. So, the first time he was here, Matt didn't really expect the amount of people that came in, so we're being a little bit more prepared of how we're going to do it this time. So Ronnie Coleman is going to be here on the 24th of May, 11 to 1 p.m. He's going to be doing meet and greet, right? After that, he's going to break for lunch, another 2 hours in the afternoon, and then he's going to be judging, right? So again, if you like deadlifting, right, and you've watched any of the Ronnie Coleman deadlift videos, Ronnie Coleman will be judging a deadlift contest. So if you ever want to stand in front of
greatness,
arguably the greatest bodybuilder who has ever lived, right? And you want to stand in front of him, in front of this icon, and have him assess, and you pull that weight and have him go, yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
there's your opportunity. And then once we're done with the deadlift contest, we've got Ronnie for a 2-hour podcast, which will be shot. It'll be recorded, but it's going to be shot in front of a live audience.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we've got VIP tickets on sale. We've got backstage tickets on sale, where you can kind of sit in and you can watch us kind of break down and start asking questions to Ronnie. We'll take a couple of questions from the audience so everyone can be involved. But the reason I bring this up and kind of how I want to run this is I want to run through the different mechanisms that we're putting down as a podcast. And, I always find it important that people need to know where we come from, who we are, right? So the reason I'm laying this out is that's a big event for us. So, we started this podcast a couple of months back. I think we're 18 episodes in right now. Little known fact when it comes to podcasting, most people don't make it past episode 5.
Right.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Most people who start a podcast, right, they don't make it past episode 5 because it becomes there's the anxiety of the commitment of doing these things weekly, right? There's people who do them multiple a week.
Oh, I think it's scary just being on video.
Yeah, it's having the being able to reassess where you are and what you're doing, to be able to take a step back and say, you know what, I'm going to put myself out there.
Yep.
And I'm going to have people judge me, and I'm going to talk about things, and you're putting yourself in the modern stance. So it's about having that understanding and putting it out there. So most people don't make it past episode 5.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's because they don't have valuable things to say. I think a lot of people who want to start an endeavor like this, the first thing that you kind of do, and this was mine, I'm going to talk about through my process, right? So long before I met Kevin, I also always had this idea of starting something. I didn't know if it was going to be a podcast, if it was going to be a website, but I wanted to kind of get as much information as I can out there.
Yep.
And when I looked at the podcast, one of the things that comes in, you're like, well, everyone has a podcast. I can tell you, name me 5 people who have a podcast, and I'll tell you won't name one, right?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
Yeah, the second thing that people talk about is the second thing that people kind of have a fear about is, what are we going to talk about? What am I going to fill the air with? And one of the things that has been really, I'd say, the most fun part about this is it's just talking for 2 hours.
I actually do know someone. Her name is Kristen. I worked with her how many years ago? I forget. 10 years ago. She's tried to start one in the past. I think it kind of was with other people. It wasn't I just fell apart maybe, and then started her own.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to plug Kristen because her and I have inspired each other over the years. And she decided, she went all in. She's doing it one by herself. She brings guests in. She's doing a great job. So
yeah,
I think that's pretty cool.
And again,
but she lives in another state.
Yeah. So you go into a platform like Spotify, you can find every subject on earth, right? About people talking about different things. But I think for me, and I'm going to have Kevin give his insights in this. For me, one of the reasons that we decided to start a podcast was I really want to have engaging conversations with people who have the same insights and lookouts that I have, people who do things that I find interesting, people who have had experiences that I can feed from and ask questions about, right? So a learning experience. And also people who have a differing opinion. you want to bring someone on who doesn't necessarily share your same viewpoint. I might have a bit of a singular view of the world, but I believe that ingrained in most of us, at least, you talk about the couple of bad apples in society, and there always will be, but for the most part, most of us want the same thing. You want happiness, you want safety, and you want that good sense of community, and you want those things around you. And I think all of us want the same thing. How we're going to get there, and our ideologies and our reasonings may be different, but the more we can engage in conversation, where we can sit down and we can express our differences without judgment, and insights into why do you think that way? What's your reasoning behind it? Without being defensive, without being judgmental, without trying to convince someone that they're wrong or convince someone that this isn't the path to take. That's truly what we're trying to do here. We want to have conversations with people who have different experiences, whether we tie into them or not. And we've got a guest coming on the next podcast, which is Friday for us. It's Wednesday now, and this is a lady who she's really, really well ingrained into this community. Right, she owns a vegan restaurant. So first things first, she's vegan, completely off the reservation for what we see as our path line. Right. However, why do I want to bring her in? Well, we went through a couple of different variations because I've always wanted to sit down and have a very earnest conversation with someone who has a completely different diet ideology to what I do, right? Knowing that I don't think there's anything as such as a wrong diet. It's find what works best for you. And bringing her on here, she's one person, the reason being, she's super successful in business. She's well-versed in the community. She used to have her own TV show, right? And also, she's very willing to sit down and have a non-judgmental. She doesn't judge me for how I eat. I don't judge her for how she eats. But I'm truly interested into sitting down and finding out from Danelle and her husband, Jeremy, and finding from them, how do you navigate on a daily basis? Whether I believe that veganism is the best way, it doesn't really matter. It's the best way for you. Right. And, and I want to ask questions. And some of those questions, I'm not trying to catch someone out. I'm not trying to spin around and try to swing them. But I really genuinely want to know, how do you navigate these problems? Yeah. Because I have a lot of respect for people. I think I try and always, we've had conversations about this. It doesn't matter what someone else does. If someone does something that is difficult, if someone else is doing something that requires more of themselves than just the average day life, I have so much respect for you. I don't care if you're a vegan. Right. As long as I'm not trying to shove onto you what I believe, and you're not trying to shove onto you believe, and you're willing to sit down and we share ideas and insights, man, let's sit down and have a conversation. And that's truly what Laban's Lab is. Yeah. And Danelle will be the first guest we have on, which is truly someone which is out of the realm of our understanding. Yes. Something we don't truly follow, but is going to bring us some insights into it. Not to question them, not to decide, we can sit there. She's not coming here to change my mind on veganism. Right. And I'm not sitting here to tell her carnivore is the way to go. But to sit down and speak to someone who lives this lifestyle and understand, how do you navigate it? Yeah. What is your day-to-day? Yeah. So in this episode, I want to kind of dive into the different reasons and why these things are important in society. Right. So we've got Ronnie Coleman coming on.